Hey friends, Darren Bailey here with you today. We've got another amazing show on tap for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in, your support, your even when we're out and about, your words of encouragement and affirmation. And the whole entire purpose of these episodes are to inform, are to encourage, and to empower so that we can make Illinois and this great nation that we love the place that we want our children and our grandchildren to live and flourish in. So today our guest is Joe Cohen. He is the state treasurer for the Illinois State Rifle Association, and we're going to kind of talk about the purpose of the ISRA, Illinois State Rifle Association, what they do, and again, it's an amazing organization that you can be involved in if you don't already know about it. So, Joe, I want to thank you so much for coming and all the way from Anna, Illinois. Joe has a pool business, Joe Co.
Yes.
and various. So if you're looking for swimming pools and Anna Jonesboro, look this guy up. He's an amazing. We've been having a conversation for the last hour, and I love it when God brings into my path just amazing people that didn't know you before, and how He brought us together. And you are a wealth of information. And I want to thank you for your service as treasurer for the ISRA, which, by the way, doesn't pay a dime, as you said. This is kind of how our country was founded, just men and women giving of their time to make things happen. School board members, just whatever it is, wherever it's at. So thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, something that we may not know. I know I gave a brief introduction, and then I'd like to talk about the workings and the purpose and what the ISRA has going on.
I'm a family man first and foremost. I have 6 wonderful children that I love very much, 3 boys, 3 girls. I have 19 and a half grandchildren, want to be born here in the next couple months.
Wow.
I'm very blessed in that way. I have a very successful business, which we've worked hard for, and the people that work with me, I'm very, very fortunate to have good employees and staff. I'm very blessed in that sense. I love the opportunity that America gives us. You can be whatever you want to be. You can listen and grow for it, or you can be distracted. And I would say for people to go for it. That's what I've done, because I came here in 1976 at 18 years of age with nothing. And now I've made a substantial investment in my own life, and it's just been a real blessing in that. But along the way, I've learned a few things, and one of those things is about a free society. I love the choices we have. We have the freedom of movement here. I travel a lot over the world, and I see poverty. We are 25% of the world economy, America. I mean, my goodness, 25%. We live in a standard so higher than most people. We have this mission work in Cambodia where the kids will spend 8 hours, 9 hours a day in the garbage dumps, digging out trash, like green bean cans. At the end of the day, they make enough money to buy a bowl of rice. So am I grateful? I never want to not be grateful for the things that I have. But what that also does is that we have a responsibility as citizens of this great nation to make this a better nation. We may not agree in politics necessarily. We may not agree on religion. But what we do agree on is the future for our children. We want a better future for our children. So let's work together to make sure that betterment happens. Now, one of those things is, this is controversial, but how big should our government be? How intrusive should they be? How small should they be? And what protects us from a overreaching government? And we would argue that history has taught us that the fear of weapons, I would say, is a good way of looking at it, that a well-supplied militia and people that are armed put at bay rogue elements. And overseas, you can see it through dictatorships and how it's overtaken. And so in America, we come from a long line of tradition of gun enthusiasts and owning weapons. And I'll tell you right up front, I hate violence. I mean, the most precious thing in life is life, whether you believe in God or not, but each individual life is precious. So I hate the fact that we have such terrible things going on in America today. But with the Illinois State Rifle Association, its main goal, it's education, it's communication. We have also a world-class shooting range where we train and disciple people how to effectively use your armaments and your weapons and how to safely store them. We also have an arm that is what you would call a legislative arm where we work for the people of Illinois. I have always said that the misuse of something does not deny the rightful use of something. I own weapons, and I hope I never have to use a weapon against another human being under any circumstance. We used to hunt. I actually like duck meat, which will probably surprise most people. It's a very elegant taste, and so we used to hunt. And as I was first starting out with family, it was a very poor time, and my kids ate deer meat, and I'm grateful for that obligation that I had to provide for them, and the guns that provided the means to get that. But the debate has changed today, where people who don't understand this argument want to take away something that we hold fundamentally dear to us, which is our right to have weaponry of some sort. And so the issue comes down for ISRA. Would call ourselves a Second Amendment rights organization. And most of us know the best part to remember about that is I don't necessarily want to talk about a militia, the first part of that. It's not important to me. But what is the right of the people to keep and bear on arms shall not be infringed. It's a simple document that was written for the anti-federalists who were worried about the encroachment of government. Madison did a good job there. I like what he said there. Encroachment means to trespass. I have a right to this, and the government needs to honor that right. But what's happened because of tragedies in Illinois, I do not like violence. I do not like what's happened with people who take a gun and use it in an evil way. It's terrible what's gone on. And I feel for every family that suffered from violence, and not just gun violence, all type of violence. But again, those guns were used improperly. They should have never been used in the way they were used. And so our politicians, our government, our governor wants to take away from us certain weapons that we feel defend those basic policies of protection, of encroachment of the government, and other things like that. So my part of the Illinois State Rifle Association is not only to be a board member, but also to be a treasurer, because I believe that we should be responsible for all funds that are given to us. We're stewards is what we really are. And so I like doing what I do. It does command a lot of my time, but I'm working for the future of our children together. So that's kind of what my role is with the ISRA. We meet on a twice every month. We meet. I am privileged to go every other month. I get to use the fancy technology of Zoom every month because I drive about 5 hours for one way for a board meeting, and it's great. Are we perfect? No, but I'll tell you what, we are the advocates for Illinoisans who want the right to defend themselves in their own home from criminals. And I would talk, if it's okay, Darren, about what part of my problem is that if the judiciary does not do its job in punishing of criminals, and it's not a color issue, it's not a religious issue, it is, as citizens, I want every woman to walk at nighttime in the cool of the evening in the summer and not be afraid. She shouldn't be. These are our wives. These are our daughters. We have this in common amongst us men. We feel we should provide for them. I agree. And providing them from also means protection. We have a judiciary that for some reason seems to me unwilling to embrace the fact that punishing people that do wrong things is a great deterrent from people who are looking at that saying, I don't want that to happen to me, so therefore I don't do it. It's funny how we increase fines for our traffic zones. You increase it twice as much, and all of a sudden you start thinking, I'm going to do the limit. And you could argue all day long deterrents don't work. I'm going to argue that they do work. Let's try in Illinois to punish criminals that use a gun in a wrong way and punish them effectively. That sends a message to everyone. And I'm sorry for those people. Maybe they didn't have a father. Maybe they didn't have a mother. Maybe they were overlooked in school or they were bullied. I understand that. We need to bring responsibility on the individual level to individuals in America. Why? If we don't, we'll lose our society. Look at it today. You think are we a country of law and order? It looks like to me lately I've seen a lot of chaos. I've seen divisions. And I don't care if I happen to be a fiscal conservative, which means I want to give the next generation a chance and not a letter of debt to say, we spent your money. What kind of a man does that to the next generation? I stand here and say, I don't want to do that. And so ISRA is doing one aspect, and that is we're teaching people how to effectively use their weapons, how to use them properly, how to store them, and we educate people. So that's kind of our role in the ISRA. And then, of course, you could talk about the legislation that's going on right now with Governor Pritzker.
Well, I appreciate that. And just real quick, let's interject. If I'm listening today and I don't understand, this is the first time I've heard of ISRA. I love your message because you do an amazing job of communicating that. Where do I go? Obviously I can Google Illinois State Rifle Association.
Yes.
Do you have the is it ISRA.org? .org. Okay, ISRA.org. You got, like I said, you guys do an amazing job. There are two as a state representative and a state senator. There were a couple of days, two or three days that I really looked forward to. I looked forward to the pro-life days when my 2019 first year as a state representative, the pro-life element filled the Capitol. They had to shut the Capitol down, and that was obviously, there were a lot of yucky bills, and there are even yet today. The second, obviously, the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment days when you come marching up the Monroe Street, and that is amazing. And ISRA does an amazing job. And then some people may not know, but some other days they call it Cherry Pie Day. Of all the problems that Illinois has, school choice, homeschooling is not one of them. And so homeschoolers from all over Illinois come and converge on Springfield and bring a cherry pie to all the legislators, to the staff. I mean, it really is an amazing day. And I got two other days, that the 4-H day and FFA day during Agriculture Week. And the interesting thing is, when I think about it, and literally just mentioning these right now, it all revolves around the youth. It all revolves around our future life, our children today in school and educating and preparing a future in Illinois. And then ultimately the Second Amendment rights of what you brought to the table, education and communication to ultimately protect all of these fundamentals for our children. So I never really. I've told a lot of people. They said, "What are some of your greatest blessings of serving in government?" Well, obviously being here, in our office for years, helping people navigate through this huge thing and complicated thing called the government, but then celebrating, especially in Springfield, the youth and the future. So I love that.
I'll interject here and tell you just a little story. I had the president of the ISRA and asked me if I'd be a member of the board. And I could give you all the reasons why I'm too busy. I had a lot of them. But then I had to look at myself in the mirror when I was alone, and I asked myself, what will my children say? Why didn't you do this? And I come from a Jewish background. And so World War II was very difficult for my family. My father never recovered from that. He was a submariner, and he was angry at God just because, how could you do this? And we had lots of discussions with this. And the thing about tacit consent, and that's what goes on. Well, not under my watch. I don't want to be involved. Let someone else deal with this. There is no such thing as tacit consent. You're consenting, whether you realize it or not, to allow something to go on, to atrocities or not. To say that I'm neutral on something, I think you're just fooling yourself. I was so convicted. Okay, I'll be a board member, which was fine. It seemed like I'm going to be 65 this year. And it's like, wow, I look in the mirror and I look and say, who is that guy? Get the other guy back. But then I got asked to be treasurer, and I thought, I don't do anything half-heartedly, Darren. I just think if you should do something, do it with all the gusto you got. And if you don't know all you need to know, get educated and get good people around you. That's what you need to do. And so I guess my greatest resource is I can be trained by anybody. So
I love
Darren,
that.
You can be trained me. I can be trained by anybody.
No, I love that.
There's no arrogance here. It's just hey, what do we need to do? When someone corrects me, thank you so much. Now I'm on the right path. Thank you. It's not about I'm better or worse. I'm not. We're all humans.
Yes.
So So in this, I realized I had a role for the next generation. So I've taken my children. I was with them when they went out deer hunting for the first time. And I tell you what, it is just a joy to, with my daughters and with my sons, to experience something as a father and to their children. It brings tears to my eye, the wonderful times we had out there hunting and learning, managing that. We have annual renewable resources, which we harvest them.
Wow.
You're a farmer. But you know what our greatest renewable resource is? Is our children.
Yes.
We should spend our lives, our livelihood to make sure. I'm not saying make it easy on them. In fact, make it hard. My axiom in life is harder is better. Now, for those biblical scholars, to give you an example, you have Abraham and Lot. There's too many people in this shepherd's thing. They say, let's split up. Let's split up. And Uncle Abraham was older than the nephew Lot. And he says, look, you choose. Go down into the lush valley of Sodom and Gomorrah, or go up into the high country of the Amalekites, where you're going to fight on every boulder. Here comes this guy. And we know what happened when you go down the low-lying areas.
Wow.
If you go the easy road, that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
When you go the hard road, yes, you're going to be tired. It's going to be wearisome, but it produces character and virtue, and there's no other way to do that except for through hardships, which reveal the true character that's in you. And in Illinoisans, all of us, I think that's what we are, we have children, and we need to help define that character. And one of those things is the rightful use of a weapon, in a sense. And so the Illinois State Rifle Organization doesn't charge much. I believe it's $35 a month. And if I stand corrected on that, I've always wanted to raise it more because we do so much.
The lifetime membership is $507. It's very affordable. So if you
it's not enough.
If you're young and you got years left in you, that's a no-brainer. So
I'm a treasurer, and I'm always advocating more. And the board is, it's too expensive. And I'm thinking, are your gun rights too expensive? Are you serious? Go to the countries that don't have them. Because I can tell you, because on statistics, just so you can realize something, we're about at 14.6 gun deaths per 100,000 in the year 2021. These are not my numbers. These are the CDC numbers, what they do. Now, when you compare...
Say that one more time.
That is 14.6 deaths per 100,000 people in America in 2021. These are not mine. There's from the Pew Center and the CDC. They've done
Thank you very much. Okay.
Now, you think, well, that's a lot. Well, wait, Canada's like 2.1. They're like really low. But when you go to South America, Guatemala, 38%. I mean, these numbers go up into high 30s. My goal is 0.
Right.
I want to be a realist. There are people out there that have issues. And this is a side platform. I would like to see us more as legislators, as human beings, deal with the issue that we have today with mental health. You know, even ISRA, it's difficult because who wants to stand on this issue? Throwing money at a problem does not solve it. We need to get in this situation, roll up our sleeves, and get dirty. Every one of us, because every human being deserves a chance of having a full life. And we need to put our heads together. I believe we can solve any problem in America if we decide to put away our differences and say, look, there's something greater than you or I here. It is the betterment of all of society. And I wish we could get to the table and say, let's work together here. Let's go across aisles and say, and I don't care, color, race, religion, it doesn't matter to me. Why? You're human. Let's work together. And so ISRA, they don't get involved in that so much as they do the legislative arm of it, which is defending in the judicial your court right, your rights in court. And you know, recently the governor's passed legislation, as you well know, that are going to make most of us felons unless we register our guns. And the courts can't seem to decide. We had a temporary injunction, which just got reversed, which this is interesting because now the appellate court is going to have to make a decision, and they may reverse that decision. I don't know. But for instance, if you bought a gun in that temporary injunction, and now that injunction is put back in, the Illinois State Police is going to come after you because you're in violation of the law. It's my understanding that the government cannot pass a law against something that was legal yesterday. Yes. I think it's called ex post facto law. You can't be held accountable. And yet that's exactly what we've done to people who are law-abiding citizens. And it's sad because what are these people The people that go through the process of background check and all the things you have to do, waiting periods, these aren't criminals for the most part. These are law-abiding citizens that want the right to have recreation, home defense, for whatever reasons to own a weapon. And I think a weapon should be like a toaster. You don't register toasters, you shouldn't register a weapon, my personal opinion. Why? Because a toaster could be a deadly weapon. If you read how many people die by toasters, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
We won't go into that today, but it doesn't matter what you use.
Right.
Cars could be used as a weapon, Darren. And yet it's just like we need to go after what's really the cause. It's not the weapon, it's not the car, it's the people that use them inappropriately. Remember, the abuse of something does not deny the rightful use of it. Now, I would make an appeal to your listeners today. There's 3 types of people in the world today. There's those people that make it happen, those that watch it happen, and those that wonder what the heck just happened.
Wow.
Which one are you?
Wow.
I'm going to challenge every male, every female that listens to your podcast to be that person that makes a difference. You don't think you're much of a difference, but you are. Every individual effort to reduce violence, to make sure that you properly store those weapons, and that you are there for any situation you need to be at the beck and calling of your society. You should be there to serve.
That is amazing.
So that's part of what we're doing, but there's some other things that we should look at. I don't understand why the legislator's going after the certain guns that they're going after. They call them, I think, weapons of assault rifles and things. Only 3% of all murders are committed by assault rifles. 56 are done by pistols. If you want to go after the one that's doing the most, and what is an actuary table for an insurance agency? They look at the greatest risk and they assign a risk assessment. So the greatest risk is our pistols. But no, they're going after assault rifles. And I think it's, I hate politics here where people can resonate. Wow, what do you need a gun like this for?
Right.
Well, that's not the issue, is it? The issue is safety.
It's a starting point for them.
Right. We want safety in our Illinoisans, in our society, in our culture, in our churches, in our homes, and in our schools. And so I don't understand the methodology here, but what is it going to take for us to get together from this side to say, let's work together for the common good, Darren? I don't know what it's going to take. Do you have any suggestions there?
Right. That's awesome. Because right now it's kind of a my way or the highway type deal. Here in Illinois, we have a super majority versus a super minority. It's never been that way before. And the art of bargaining is really off the table. I mean, I've witnessed that. I've literally been told as a state rep and as a state senator, you want to work with us? You want to work with us? Good, we'll work with you. Support our legislation. Start there. Support what we are proposing, and then we're working together. Literally, and that is on record. That's been said, on the House and on the Senate floor, and they blame us for not coming to the table. Someone like myself and working together because I refuse to go along with this.
And I love that about you. I really appreciate it about you. I'll ask a question: is America great, or was America great? Okay, let's just say. Let's look at it this way. What made America so great that they're the world leader today? Was it when these founding fathers came over here, there was great government programs? I'm going to tell you something. If you read the history that's being denied a lot of children today, that history shows of the hardships, adversities, and death that the Pilgrims and those people that came over here suffered to hack out a living today. There was no support structure. It defined character and people. I mean, the average age of the colonists when they died was 38 years of age. Oh my gosh. You had to live a whole lifetime, and you had to build the next generation. You had to make men out of boys early on. And you know what? Today, I'm the recipient of that blessing. We got all those blessings of the capitalism or where it grew. I mean, did we grow because we redistributed wealth like socialism does? Did we grow because we let people make money and keep their money and invest it where they thought was best? You answered the question. When you listen, you know. If you think you're going to grow America through socialism, go look overseas. And not only that, go look in history. So I hope we can go back to our roots, and every listener of yours and every Illinoisan, what makes us so different from the world's population is this determination of that we can pull ourselves up with the bootstraps. And I know it sounds like arrogance, but we should believe in ourselves. We should believe that we have this initiative inside of ourselves.
Yes.
And I feel sorry sometimes for the working man. This is a side note, but what is inflation? It is a absolute tax on the everyday Americans that are trying to hack out a living and raise a family. It's tough. What are our legislators doing? What is our Congress doing? I
Wow.
don't think they're doing what they should be doing. I would love to see fiscal responsibility. What kind of a man enslaves the next generation with the debt load that we're doing?
Wow.
You say, but we have these programs. Really? We're doing something wrong. And all I'm doing sitting in your office today is to call attention to what you're doing. You're doing the work. And I really applaud what you're doing, Darren, because you could have sat back at your farm, done what you wanted to do. You heard the call. You've come to do that. And I appreciate that in you. I support you in that. I'm calling all Americans to support you, to call, not all, just, pardon me, let me restate that. All Illinoisans.
There you go.
The Americans,
Yeah. Okay.
but they are, Illinoisans are Americans.
That's right. That's right.
I misspoke there. So Illinois, why? I think our children deserve a better Illinois, is what
Yeah.
I think they do. And holding our representatives accountable. And if it's lining your pockets to do what's been done, shame on you, because you're selling out the next generation to get enriched today.
That's right.
And so we have that responsibility. I will tell you this, if you think about the drug addiction in America, the amount of people that die every day in Illinois versus the amount of people that are killed through gun violence, our real problem is drug addiction. But is that really the problem? Or do we have a problem in the home where fathers aren't training
That's
their
right.
children and say, son, this is wrong and I'm not going to tolerate it? I feel sorry for the generations that came after Johnson, the big reliever of poverty.
Yes.
We have hurt a whole culture in America because of our enabling them, and giving money to people doesn't solve the problem. Giving them a pathway to independence is what I want. I want them to stand right beside me with my kids and everyone else, that we all have the same freedoms. Has there been discrimination in America? You bet there has. And it's been on every side of the aisle. And some cultures and races more than others. And I'm sorry, I want nothing to do with that. I want you to have every opportunity my son has.
Right.
So,
I love that.
Well, me too. How are we doing on time?
Here's the deal. I see a second episode coming up and I want to get into that because Joe and I have been talking for a while, and as soon as he sat down here, he asked me a question, and that's what we're going to revolve this second episode around. Real quickly, would you explain, because I wasn't even aware of this till not too long ago. Tell us about the facilities that exist and where they're at with ISRA and their purpose, and then we'll wind up, and you can look for a second episode on just exactly, just basically America, what this country should stand for. So. But the facilities that exist.
We have there's only six ranges that have the caliber. I think it's called 4 or 5 star. Shame on me for not knowing the difference. They reach these certain levels of attainment, and we almost lead the nation with one of the best shooting facilities in the United States of America. And it's up just outside of, I would say, Chatsworth. I don't know the actual city because it's in the middle of nowhere. So, because there's lots of regulations on how to provide barriers of protection and things like this, and safety on the range. We have classes, we have demonstrations, we have some of the world's leading experts on how to handle firearms come there and do training. So if you go to Illinois State Rifle Association.org, you can sign up for classes, you can become a member. Your membership goes for what? For our operation, which also includes the legislative part of it, which means that we're fighting for your rights, also for training. I mean, it's a great organization. It doesn't cost you much. More importantly, if you're a Illinois gun owner, which there's about 3-point-something million of you, and there's only about 20-something thousand ISRA members, then you're piggybacking on us, which means we are fighting for your rights. And I think as a man, you need to stand up with us to fight the encroachment of the Illinois government against our Bill of Rights, our Second Amendment, that I don't believe governments, they need to honor what we agreed in a compact, that this is what we need to be citizens. And so that's what our facilities do. That's what we stand for. And we're always growing. We want more members. We need more board members as well. And we're not the only group. There's other Second Amendment rights that I thank God for Thank you all, no matter who you are
We're
or
all
where you
working
are.
together in
We
the same
are.
direction.
And I don't like any disunity here.
Right.
Okay. If you want to be ahead of me, go right ahead. But we need to make sure we secure a future for our
Yes.
children.
Yep.
So that's what our facilities look like. Did I miss something in that?
No, I think you nailed it. ISRA.com, Illinois State Rifle Association. Here's the deal.
.org.
.org. Thank you. ISRA.org. Look up Illinois State Rifle Association and join. And Joe is serving as the state treasurer. They need volunteers. They need help. Start showing up to. I showed up at my first meeting last month, and they have chapter meetings throughout the state. Southern Illinois is in Marion.
Yep.
Is there a what?
Third Monday of the month at 7:00 at that would be not Cross. It's a certain church there.
It used to be the
What's the name?
Sam's.
Yeah, it used to be Sam's.
Yeah, it's an amazing church, an amazing facility. If you're from that church and you're listening, I'm sorry. We're crossing the crossing. Is that it?
No, that's not
okay.
it.
All right. Well, we'll figure that out. This is what happens sometimes when you shoot off the cuff. And if you know me good enough, I shoot off the cuff a lot, and I mispronounce and do names sometimes. So listen. You're gonna hear a second episode just talking about some really cool things. Joe Cohen is an amazing wealth of knowledge, and stay tuned. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Continue to share these messages. If you've got other ideas, email them to me, Darren, DARREN, @BaileyforIllinois.com. Until we see each other again, God bless you, and thank you so much.